Hello, everyone. This is Ginny Brant with Unleash Your God-Given Healing with Lifestyle Changes. Today, we have a special guest with us. She's my friend, and she and I have a lot in common because we're both involved in health and wellness. Her name is Kimberly McIntyre, and she is a nutrition and wellness coach in Easley, South Carolina, and she is the owner of Entire Healing. I would like to introduce you today, Kimberly McIntyre. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hi, how are you? I want to thank you so much for letting me be here. This
Well,
is
it's
exciting.
great because, we've become friends again because of our common interest in health and wellness, only to find out we're like, 45 minutes from each other. And again, this commonality is something that binds people together. Friends usually come from people who we have a lot in common with, and the health and wellness is a theme in both of our lives. Can you share your personal journey? What led you to become a nutrition and a wellness coach?
Yes, very interesting journey. I think that most people are or become nutrition and wellness coaches because of a problem. I think that they resolved and then they want to help other people thrive. And that's really my story on how I went from illness to optimal health. It started, I would say, as far as me noticing, I started having heart palpitations. It started with a flutter. And, it's like, oh, it's like your heart skipped a beat, not normal, but you just kind of ignore it because it's not life threatening, right? So, as I moved on, maybe a few years of that, it got worse and it got so bad that I actually felt it at night in my throat. I would feel my heart beating in my throat and I would prop myself up to go to bed and kind of rub just to calm it. And at that point, I realized this is a little more serious and maybe I need to go to the doctor and find out what's going on. So fortunately for me, I had a friend who had a friend who was a cardiologist. And so I just went directly to the cardiologist and he said, you have AFib and I need for you to take this medication and you should be okay. So I did what I was told because at that time I did not own my own health, nor did I know what that meant. So I took a beta blocker and it was the lowest dose possible and I clipped it in half. He told me to clip it in half. There was nothing any less, and that's as low as you could go. So the problem with that is that I ended up lethargic. I would be comatose by 9 p.m. I had 3 children that I was homeschooling. I have a husband. I have a part-time job, actually 2 part-time jobs, which makes it full-time, doesn't it? Um, I couldn't do this. And so I would drag out of bed in the morning and I'm like, okay, the only thing that changed was this medication. So I go back to the doctor and I said, I can't do this. I can't live like this. And he goes, well, there's really no other option. I can't give you a lower dose. It is what it is. And I'm like, I don't believe that. So I had a friend that owned a nutrition store and I called him and I said, hey, this is my problem. Can you help? And he goes, absolutely. He said, I actually had this problem myself, 100% resolved with magnesium. I'm like, what? He's like, magnesium, need to oxygenate the blood. So I did it. I actually took myself right off the medicine. I didn't know anything about titrating or that that was dangerous, but it worked for me, I guess because I had not been on it that long. And I took the magnesium, and within 3 days, zero heart palpitations.
Hmm.
And so let's just cut it short. I was like all in on what do I not know? And I want to know what I don't know because I am not living like that. After that, I took a deep dive into studying nutrition on my own, learned a lot, knew how to help people, but nobody cared to listen. And I was like, you know what? I really want to help people because I have overcome something and I was thriving, feeling good in the morning, not comatose at night. not having heart palpitations. And at that point, honestly, I was reading the Bible and the Lord spoke to me through his word. It was an impression that this is what I am supposed to do. And that was very interesting and overwhelming because I had been a hairstylist for decades.
Now, how old were you when this happened? This
I was
AFib?
I was 40. Okay, in my 30s is when I had the heart palpitation
Okay.
issue. Over the next decade is when I took the deep dive into learning all that I could. And I actually joined co-ops, went to seminars, and really did a lot of learning. I just didn't do any education that would certify, to actually be a coach. So I was 44 when I got my first certification and have been doing it ever since. And I love it.
So this was your defining moment when this AFib came
That
up.
was my defining moment.
Now, it's
Yes.
interesting to me because you don't believe how many people I know, people close to me included, who have developed AFib after getting COVID or after getting the COVID shots.
Yes.
They're having to do all these different things, and what they're doing is working. But I'm just sitting here wondering, wonder how many of their doctors have recommended that they take a magnesium supplement.
Probably none of them. Maybe. That was not, when I went back and inquired about what else can I do, that was not on the list. There was nothing on the list. And one of the drivers for me to become a nutrition and wellness coach was because as a hairstylist, we're also counselors. And I would have time after time women sit in my seat and tell me about their medical problems. And I knew that nutrition could help them, but they didn't care to listen because I'm nobody, what am I? Anyway, once I got certified, these people were coming to me. I mean, that is the difference, right? I mean, we need a
Right.
piece of paper. After that, they started coming to me, and to be able to see them thrive through nutrition and wellness. And of course, I don't make recommendations because I'm not a doctor, which, how does that make any sense? You know the answers, but you have to be very careful how you lay those out because we're not doctors, but yet we can really help you. It's a little twisted. But regardless, it has been the most exciting thing I have ever done in my life. Can I share something just real quick
Sure.
about that? I'll get emotional because I always do, although I try not to. But anyway, after I really felt like the Lord had laid on I knew for a fact that this was my future, that because the Lord had instructed me. And the Lord has a way of confirming things 3 times with me. So anyway, I was sitting at Clean Juice in Greenville, actually outside with my acai bowl, and a woman comes out and stops in front of my table. And she said, I felt like she was about ready to try and sell me something, but she goes, what is it that you do? And I said, hair. And she goes, no, what is it that you want to do? And before I could get it out of my mouth, she goes, does it have something to do with health and wellness? Yes. And she goes, I just want you to, she goes, where are you from? I said, easily. And she goes, I am from Traveler's Rest. She goes, I just want you to know, obviously, the Lord had sent me here today to tell you that you're to do it.
I know people that has happened to.
Amazing.
For different things. It's like the Lord spoke through a person and confirmed something you were already sensing and feeling.
It's
So
awesome.
that is interesting. What inspired the name Entire Healing? Tell us about that.
I wanted it to be entire healing spelled correctly because I know that we can be entirely healed. But that domain for a website was going to cost me $8,000. And I wasn't willing to pay that. And so a friend of mine said, knock off the MC and make it part of your name, Entire Healing.
Well, I know that you're passionate about gut health and non-toxic living, and these are your pillars of your practice. Tell us about this non-toxic living, especially since you used to be a hairdresser. And we know that they have high toxic levels because of the chemicals they work with every day.
First of all, realizing it's the load. And as much as we don't want to admit it, our bodies can manage, obviously, it can manage a little bit, right? So we have to offset that. And so as far as non-toxic, I mean, honestly, it's everything. It's like, what are we cleaning with? What are we putting on our body? What are we putting in our body? And the most important thing is a thriving, healthy gut. So that's why that was my niche. I wanted that to be my thing that I really honed in on because when the gut is healthy and working optimally, so is the rest of the body. And then it can handle the forces that come against us, most likely. So I clean a lot of times with water. I mean, most people discredit the fact that water is a detergent all on its own and it kills germs. Plus, drinking enough water, making sure that your water is purified and trying to buy organic as much as you possibly can. I am food first. Let's focus on food, getting all the nutrients that we can from the food. And then if that's not working, then we bring in the supplements. And even with supplements, let's make sure that they're organic and that they are whole food 100% as well. That was something else I've learned through my journey is so many companies will pair synthetics with whole together. And I'm just not about it. Like, let's get rid of the synthetic. Let's forget it. And our bodies were meant, they were designed to operate on whole food, really trying to eliminate processed food as much as possible. I'm not perfect. I live the 80-20 rule. I don't like to make people
Me
uncomfortable.
too.
My husband and I were just talking about this. When you see people that have a good disposition and they are joyful and laughing, and they might not even be eating great, but they're healthy because of their mindset, right? I mean, it's mind, body, and soul. We want to target all three of those. And so, really, also focusing on detoxing thoughts, negative thoughts, also making sure that what we're watching is pure, what we're listening to is pure. You know, toxins are not just in our food, they're around us verbally and all of that. And just, again, it's 80-20.
Right.
So
I agree.
we
I
don't
agree with that totally. What about how do you incorporate your faith into your practice?
It is on the forefront, and that is my favorite part because I am a biblical nutrition wellness coach. And the first certification that I went through was biblical based. It was entrenched in the word. And I'm so grateful that that was my first start. But when we look through a biblical lens, it changes everything. It shuts down confusion. It keeps us from being overwhelmed and it keeps us grounded. And so looking at the word, how did God want us to live? What did he give us for food, thought, all of that? Just go right back to the word. And many times people have come to me and they have said, what about this particular thing? This is overwhelming. This is confusing. This is what they are saying. And I say, look at it through a biblical lens, and that takes away the confusion.
We're not doing a
Plethora
lot
of
of that today
confusion.
in our country. We're not looking at what God gave us to eat. We're eating all these what we call frankenfoods and foods that man has altered in some way. And the greatest thing I learned in the cancer journey is that God did not create our bodies to eat processed foods, and that was the bulk of what I was eating. So things definitely needed to change. Now, I know that you also have a YouTube channel. And so tell me about what are your favorite videos to make on your YouTube channel?
Oh, that's hard. I love them all. I love the interviews. I start getting in on the personal side, which is fun because I kind of get to share what's going on with my family. But I think my favorite, honestly, are just when I'm in the kitchen and probably when I'm in the kitchen with my granddaughter. More in the future. Now that she's getting older, it's a little bit easier. At first it's like I'm trying to teach her how to put the spoon in the flour without flipping it all over the place. And that's gotten better. Now she can scoop and pour. So, but I think those are my favorite.
What advice would you give someone struggling to take control of their health?
I've been there many times, and I will tell you that when I get in that place, that's when I'm grateful that I have friends that are like-minded, so I can reach out to them to kind of get unstuck. That's what I call it, is stuck. That is where YouTube is a great source as well. So you can get motivated, but you want to make sure that you're getting the right advice. So just be careful about that. And those are the things that really help to pull me back. And someone who's new to this journey, it can be very overwhelming. Actually, I'm interviewing Sally Fallon next week, and her book is called Nourishing Traditions. That's a great place to start. Or you can also start with a health and wellness coach like myself, because that's what I do for people is I help to teach them small habit changes that aren't so overwhelming. And I look at their journals, their food journals, and it's very personalized as well because I want to meet people where they are. And everybody's different where they are in this. Listen, I am developing a weight loss program for a local chiropractor, and I did Zoom calls when he was doing GLP-1, which I don't suggest. But while he was doing the GLP-1, I handled the Zoom calls and I would talk about whole foods. And some of them would say, so when I take my hamburger helper, oh, wait a minute, this is where we are. So see what I'm saying? It's like hamburger helper. I didn't even know they still made that. So now we've got to explain, got to take a step back. What are those ingredients? What's going on in that package? So there's levels. That's what health coaches are here for. They're here to help coach you through this process and kind of take away the overwhelming feeling.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
If you go on my website, entirehealing.com, that's my name right there, and you can fill out a form and it will come straight to my email. That's the best way for you to touch base. And then we can schedule a Zoom call and go from there.
And let's leave us with one overall bit of wisdom.
Again, I'm going to get emotional. Why is health so emotional for me? I guess because I've been through so many things. And I know that healing is real and it can take place. Wisdom would be to believe that optimal health is achievable. And because of where I'm at in life right now, I hear a lot of people use age as an excuse. So let's stop using age as an excuse because that can literally keep you stuck and hold you back. And instead, let's figure out what we can do at the age where we are to thrive. And remember that this body was a gift from God, and it's our responsibility to take care of it. That's my wisdom is let's do what we need to do to take care of the gift that God gave you.
That is good information and good wisdom to share. And it is so true that God gave our bodies the ability to heal on a daily basis. But as you and I know, if we do the right things, if we eat the whole foods, if we keep moving, if we keep hydrated, if we're, live as the Bible tells us to by his words and what the word says instead of getting caught up in all the anxieties and stress of life. And so it is important how we live so that our bodies can, all those functions God gave our body to heal can actually do that on a daily basis. I mean, the more I've learned from the cancer journey and from what I've personally been through in life, just like you, is that God created our bodies to heal on an everyday basis if we will do the right things.
Absolutely.
So I thank you for being with me today, and we're going to have to get together again since we're not too far from each other. And I do
Absolutely.
hope that my audience will get in contact with you and look at your YouTube channel. And I will post your YouTube channel in the show notes below. Thanks everyone for listening. And I hope you've gained some much wisdom today from Kimberly from her journey and from her mission to help others as well. Until next time, here's to your good health and healing, and may God bless.